Welcome back, everyone. It's perhaps not the best of times in Imo State, politically speaking, of course, with the recent political tension in the state, allegations and counter-allegations between the immediate past governor, Okorocha, and the sitting governor, Emeh. Some properties belonging to the former governor have been sealed by the EFCC. The markings on those buildings show clearly. The agency say that those buildings and properties are under investigation. The governor, Emeh, believes there is a massive rot in the past government and they will do justice to the issues. But there may be some security issues in the present political tension. Take a listen to the governor.
I am aware, and you are aware, that those who committed crimes against humanity in every sphere of life, infrastructurally, educationally, socially, in the areas of health, in areas of abuse of our local government system, in areas of destruction of the legacies of our forefathers, they are certainly not happy with the progress we are making. When we were running an election, we said, well, we want to be elected to rebuild Imo State. That was what we said. Now we have been elected, and we have consciously begun a process of rebuilding our state. That's right. It's a very daunting task. It's not an easy one. By the time the various committees and agencies of government finish their investigations, you understand the level of man's inhumanity to man that was meted on our state. And we also will take deliberate steps to make sure that security agencies in the country are aware of the situation, are aware of the threat to peace and security in our land, and this government will not shy away from taking bold actions, as you know that when it becomes necessary, we shall act courageously, and the way we will do things in such a manner and way that everybody in our states will be happy.
That is the governor, and that is his own side. He's raised some very interesting issues. The past governor, Senator Okorocha, believes the matter against him is simply a witch hunt and that the present governor has done nothing since assuming office other than chasing after him. Take a listen to the governor in an exclusive with China's TV.
I do not, and I did not owe any bank. And I've made this a public. I said, if any bank ever says, foreign or local, that I borrowed 100 billion naira, let the bank say so. And yet, to today, no bank have said that. They said, I've done nothing in the state. And that in Imo State, I did nothing. I said to them, listen, the International Cargo Airport, they just put a courts, the police headquarters, the prison headquarters, the Ezimo Palace, the Freedom Square, the Hero Square, the 2 flyovers, the 2 tunnels, the 2 7 general hospitals, the 1,000-bed mother and child hospital, the Sumto Hospital. Most of these projects were commissioned by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and are judged as one of the best structures you can see. What have the government done for the 100 days in office? There's nothing. When I was doing my 100 days in office, I built the Hero Square, the government house, I built the SSG's office. Where the SSG is staying now was built by me. Where the governor is using as office now was built by me. The new government house was built by me. So my question then is, what have you done in your 100 days? As you have done nothing, do something. I think this government is rather confused and they have no plan, they have no focus for anything. And unfortunately, it is as a result of the fact that this government never won an election. If there's any illegal government, unconstitutional government in Nigeria, is this government of PDP in Imo State. Because in the first place, they did not win this election. They didn't have the highest vote, and they didn't have the spread. In an attempt to announce them, this same SSG, now who is SSG, who is known as a man of, what gave him this job is Togri, was the same person on television that told the result sheet of Uche Nwosu, the AA candidate, that made them declare the PDP candidate a winner and say, go to court, hurriedly. They've seen that what I've put on ground, they can't match it. So the only way, and they're also seen that there's likely going to be a declaration of Uche Nwosu as a governor or at worst a rerun. So they are trying to use intimidation. So people are scared and leave the place. So if there's a run or something, they can just find their easy way. But they can't take the patience of people for granted. And that's the truth.
This is perhaps not the first time we're seeing a past governor and an incumbent governor clash in verbal war on issues of governance, on issues of politics. But this one is perhaps of a special interest because of issues of governance that are involved, the allegations from left, right, and center. Let's talk about this, everyone, and perhaps some of the implication to it. Let's get to hear from the state government. I have joining me from our Abuja studio, the secretary to the Imo State government, Honorable Onyeagocha. Thank you so much, Honorable, for coming on the program tonight. You heard the allegations, allegations that your government was not legitimate in the sense that it did not win the election. In fact, he alleged that you were the one who tore a result sheet that gave rise to the declaration of Governor Hidio as governor. Those are some of the allegations raised by the former governor. How would you react to that?
Thank you very much, Shehu, for giving me the opportunity. On the allegation that I tore the result sheet, the truth remains that it was the Attorney General of former Governor Okorocha who entered the nolle prosequi in the charge against me before the magistrate court. So if he is now complaining about it, why did he approve of his Attorney General to go to the magistrate court and enter a nolle prosequi that led to my discharge in the matter? The truth is that he knows he tried to perpetrate fraud in that election, and everything was put in place to checkmate his dubious attempts to force his son-in-law as governor of Imo State. On the second issue, I want to also remind the people of Nigeria that the truth is that former Governor Okorocha is suffering from withdrawal syndrome. He didn't contest to be governor of Imo State, and if he honestly feels that there is a case to be made out on the issue of governor seat of Imo State, he should allow the person who was the candidate to go make out the case by himself. I expect that he is a senator representing his zone and that he is not the spokesperson for the candidate of AA, which is Uche Nwosu, his son-in-law. He still forgets that his tenure as a governor has expired. He wishes he were still a governor. But let me correct one assertion. There is no tension in Imo State. There is normalcy in Imo State. It's just that we have decided to tolerate some measure of lunacy, which some people have tried to bring upon the state by allowing normalcy to move on. Governor Okorocha can afford to enjoy the newfound freedom in Imo State, which he never allowed throughout his tenure as governor. He never allowed anybody to have a protest of any nature, to march peacefully on the streets. He actually got soldiers and police to beat up disabled people, blind people, deaf people, medical doctors, pensioners, women. But today he can afford to ride into Owerri and say that he's having a protest and nobody is harassing him or arresting him. What is an issue before the people of Imo State and the people of Nigeria is that we had a governor who used his principal secretary as the chairman of the State Tenders Board, which actually is not the requirement in law. Even his own law, he got the same principal secretary to apply to him as governor for waiver for all the contracts he did in Imo State. There is not a single contract in Imo State for which there was no application for waiver made to him as a governor by the principal secretary, Dr. Pascal Obi, who was at that time combining the position of principal secretary to the governor as well as chairman of the tenders board, something that was an aberration. Now, when he talks about this is...
Yeah, Honorable Onyeagocha, let me quickly ask you, because there are a lot of issues here which I'd like you to clarify. Has the state government in Imo State identified what you have alleged as fraud? Because I'll quote the governor saying that available records show that in 8 years, former Governor Okorocha mismanaged about 1 trillion naira belonging to Imo State. We're taking our time to investigate the numerous atrocities of the last administration, and certainly he must answer for all the evils he did against the people of Imo State. End of quote. Has the state government specifically identified the allegations of fraud against former Governor Okorocha?
Yes, we have. And I have documents to that effect right in front of me here in your studio. I will start with the issue of the police headquarters, which he claims he built for Imo State. Now, that police headquarters, he said police headquarters phase 1 and police headquarters phase 2. Both of them cost the Imo State government over 10 billion naira. Now tell me what the interest is of Imo State government to build a police headquarters at the cost of 10 billion naira. Now, if you look at it very clearly, the truth is that these were just avenues to steal our fund. The federal government is richer than Imo State by every means. So why should we take on a federal government project like police headquarters? And there was no problem with the police headquarters in Imo State. The state allocation in some months is about 4 billion naira. So 10 billion naira for police headquarters meant that he spent 2-month allocation of the Imo State government from the federal government just to build a so-called police headquarters. He did the same thing with his so-called general hospitals. At all times, he keeps saying that he built 27 hospitals. In truth, he started the block building process of 26 hospitals, not 27, because none was built in Owerri Municipal. Until date, after 8 years, not one was completed. He was on television to announce that these so-called 27 hospitals have been completed and that they are all equipped with 200 hospitals. I want to challenge him, starting with the one in his own local government. He comes from Idato South. That one is not functional. It's been overgrown by weeds. The one from his son-in-law's local government, which is Nkwere local government, is been overgrown by weeds. The one from the local government of his former speaker, Achoihim, overgrown by weeds. The one from the local government of his secretary to government, Ngobala and the Hitu Boma, overgrown by weeds. Not a single one of them is being completed. He claims he built international cargo of Imo Sambakwe International Airport to the tune of several billions of naira. Go there and see whether the projects he claimed to have carried out.
Honorable Onyeagocha, let me quickly, you've raised these allegations, but there are a series of projects that if you ask former Governor Okorocha, it would tell you that you are simply targeting at rubbishing his legacies in Imo State as a governor for 8 years. And it seemed from his own perspective that you are destroying some of these projects. For example, the Akachi, the tunnels, the overhead beautifiers in the city are seen to be pulled down by your government. Is there a direct or intentional intention of rubbishing the projects that have been done by the Okorocha administration?
We are not bothered with removing any of his legacy. All those things you're seeing on TV as projects are nothing but ruins. Those buildings are not what being shown on TV. If you enter each and every one of them, their roofs are all leaking, the walls are all cracked. None of them will pass any construction integrity test. They are just an eyesore. What you see is different from what you find when you get into any of those buildings. Like you have just seen the bridge, the road he claims to have built to his village. Let us even start with it. The Olu to Akokwa Road, the Mbe Umuchima Bridge, which is only about 5 minutes to his house. The bridge has collapsed. Half of it is totally collapsed, and the remaining half is under serious threat. So When he talks about rubbishing his legacy, he's talking about his ruins. This is somebody who has no shame. The truth is that in all the offices he has occupied in the past, whether it was in FAN or in the project of ecumenical center, there is none that is not tainted with fraud. In FAN, he was driven out of office because of fraud. That has been the character
Honorable
of
Onyeagocha,
Okorocha.
let me pause you for a moment. Sorry, let me pause you for a moment, and let's get the other side of the conversation tonight on some of the allegations being made by the governor, Onyeagocha government. I'm now being joined by Mr. Emeh. Emeh is the legislative assistant to the governor, former governor, Okorocha. Thank you so much, Mr. Emeh, for coming on tonight. You've heard some of the allegations against the former governor, your principal. How would you react to them?
It's important starting that I correct an impression. You did hear the governor say that my learned senior, Onyeagocha, did tell result sheet. The fact that Attorney General entered another protocol does not negative the fact that he told result sheet. It only ended the prosecution, which the power of the Attorney General cannot be questioned in that regard. So let us not address the issue because the fact that another protocol was entered, therefore, Onyeagocha, my learned senior, did not tell result sheet. He used to be my role model, but in the conduct of that event, I've taken an exception to his leadership of me as a person. But be that as it may, he said, let us take the issue of the general as a case in point. It's important. One of the faltering steps why this government is faltering is that they refuse to make themselves available to be educated on the handover. The issue at conception, the general hospitals were conceived to be a PPP model, whereby we build and invite investors who will run and manage. At no time was it conceived that Imo State government will complete 27 hospitals and run 27 hospitals. Initially, a group, in the course of this, I remember the name of the group that was initially supposed to partner with the Imo State government in the execution of this project. But due to some arguments from medical NMS at that time, who argued that they are going to be harvesting hernia from our retina of patients, that the name is escaping my mind, but I will remain in the course of this argument. So now government took it upon itself to make sure it completes these hospitals. Some has been completed, but it's an ongoing project. Government is a continuum. When Okorocha came into office, we inherited some projects. If they're saying they didn't meet integrity tests of their own engineers, why don't they now make it compliant with integrity tests? What we are asking is that government is a continuum. Instead of this government to concentrate and deliver dividend deliverables to Imo people, they are busy blackmailing, as my former governor said, that they are interested in election rerun. The idea is simple. Blackmail the Okorocha and his former government, and so that Imo people will queue into an election rerun. Because in our own view, while the governor sitting is declared governor, he was not properly elected as required by the Constitution.
Mr. Emeh,
yes.
Did the former governor mismanage 1 trillion naira?
My bro, in fairness to you, if you look at these projects, which you showed on screen now, let us assume those projects are carcass. By the time you do an evaluation of those projects, where would the 1 trillion naira be managed from? Above all, we are not averse to investigation. We are not averse to prosecution. We are saying let due process of law. It's not enough to parrot due process.
But
due process involves
one
minute. Due process involves that you open your facts, invite the person you are accusing to make a defense. This committee, the government has set up a committee, various committees to investigate. None of them has turned in any report, and they have come to conclusion. In that place, they have already the conclusion before the committee starts. In that way, what type of justice? Right. Let them say any committee has invited any Okorocha of any of his aides, commissioner or otherwise, to answer to any specific allegation of his operation or otherwise.
Let's take we take a breather, but you'll be telling us, because a lot of allegations have been raised today. I'd like you to respond to it, and we get Honorable Onyeagocha's also response on this, just to clarify some of the issues that have been raised and get a way forward for the people of Imo State. We take a break on the program, and we look at a way forward for Imo State in the political undercurrent in the state. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on Sunday Politics on Channels Television. We've been talking about the situation in Imo politics, Imo State in southeast Nigeria. The former governor, Okorocha, is not happy And the present governor, Emeka Ihiodia, is not happy also. He says that there is massive rot in the state and they're going to fix it. The former governor says he has not embezzled or mismanaged any fund. We're hearing from the two sides of the divide. The secretary to the government of the Federation of Imo State, Mr. Uche Onyeagocha, is in our Abuja studio, where Mr. Emeh, here in our Lagos studio, is a legislative assistant to Senator Okorocha. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for talking to us. Before I go to our Abuja studio with Mr. Onyeagocha, I was asking you your response to what is happening.
Yes.
There are allegations of 1 trillion naira.
Beyond the allegation, let me lay a foundation.
Just for a moment. One of the things they raised, for example, they did say that the Akachi, that big hand statue in Imo State was built with 700 million naira. Is it true?
No. But let me explain to you. Akachi is a work of art. You don't price work of art as brick and mortar. Are you getting the point? Meanwhile, where is Akachi located? While I was growing up, I'm 52 this year. While I was growing up, for the past 40 years, since I started visiting Owerri, present Akachi site was a dustbin at the center of Owerri. Beside Akachi was a sawmill. So Akachi, for 40 years, the land comprising Akachi has been a dustbin. So what is the cost of evacuation of that dustbin from that side? How much went into evacuation to make that place?
How much does the project cost?
I don't have the actual figure. I don't have that fact. But I'm trying to let you that Akachi is a work of art. It's not, and is designed to be a center. So part of the money, first of all, was preparing and evacuating the mountain of refuse that more than 2 or 3 decades. If ask anybody, my senior Onyeagocha can confirm.
React to what he said about the federal project.
Now, let me explain to you. State governments does federal government project, but there's a condition. You must first seek approval. They must consent to the design. They must approve the cost. FEC must approve it before you begin to execute. Do they have any evidence that the International Airport was not designed by FAN, approved by FEC before we started? That is how federal project. And the one of the day, you apply for refund. That is my area explained to you. The problem is that they did not make themselves available for proper handover. Otherwise, these matters would have been properly situated and explained. So this is why the government is faltering from one point to the other. So when they raise the issue, we have to explain. And I want to tell you that people like us are available. We are stakeholders. If they call us on any matter, we'll readily give any explanation the one we have.
Because there are also questions being raised as to where some of the projects or some of the properties linked to the former governor were, or they were not. Some of the allegation is that they were not nowhere before the governor got into office. But when he got into office, you remember some of the projects that are being marked by the FCC that are under investigation. And these are some of the allegations being made that these are monies that are being allegedly taken from government.
Now let me just react simply. With profound respect to His Excellency, Emeh Ihiodia, since he entered office, he has started building his country home in the village. He's building his house in the civic center. He has started building his hotel. Does it mean that His Excellency Emeh Ihiodia, just because his governor has stolen money? I want to ask them. So, Mr. Shehu, the properties in question is a school built by governor's daughter. The other one is a warehouse, all-in shop, built by governor's wife along Aba Road. The governor's wife have a similar business in Abuja, located at Tropical Plaza, opposite NNPC building. That is where you see that shop in Abuja. And the rental value of that shop, I want you to go and check independent, is nothing less than 800 million per annum. Now, this woman now, who is alleged to be poor now, just because Okorocha became governor, has 3 hotels in Jos, Lamont Group of Hotels. In Abuja, 2 of those hotels. In Hybro area, in Owerri 2. I want to challenge any Molite, living or dead, who before Rochas became governor, has more property in Imo. I can name them in any major street in Imo. Right. For instance, the site of former Rochas College in Onitsha Road, which property in Imo is bigger than it? So it's not correct to say that because he was governor, that he stole money. Because it is a disinvestment that others, what of other former governors who have ruled Imo and their children, where didn't they invest in Imo? Is it a disincentive to invest in Imo? I think they should be encouraged, rather.
The issues of waiver that he raised, and the principal private secretary of the governor, who is involved in the tenders board, you have not answered to that one.
Yes, if you give me time, I'll do that.
Please go ahead in just a few seconds.
A governor has power to give waiver. Are they saying that governor of Imo State has no power to give waiver to extant rules? When they prove that,
but he did say that that is illegal.
This is his own opinion. I'm telling you that the governor has power to grant waiver
let's hear from him. Honorable Onyeagocha, you've heard some of the response from Mr. Emeh. What would be your reaction to some of the defense that is made onto the allegations?
Cameraman can focus very well and capture it. Akachi, award of contract for the construction of Akachi Hand of God, according to them, 700 million naira, signed by Dr. Pascal Chigozie Obi, Principal Secretary to the Governor. I have the contract here for the award of Police Headquarters, Imo Police Headquarters Phase 2, signed by Dr. Pascal Obi, to the tune of 4,372,332,650,000 naira. I have the same for the award of the Police Headquarters Phase 1. I have it here.
What is the heading of the letter you have? Is that a contract or notice?
5 billion,
the letter conveying award.
219 million.
You tell us. You tell us, what is that letter?
Let me read the heading. That's why I'm asking him. Is that an award letter?
Honorable Onyeagocha,
award of contract or contract document?
Is asking what letter is that, because a lot of people cannot see.
These are documents from their government.
Yes, but what is the heading? Is it notice?
Signed by Dr. Pascal Obi, the Principal Secretary to the Governor, for the award of this project.
So it's conveying notice.
And the figures are clearly stated by them, not by us. These are documents they abandoned.
This is a letter from the Principal Secretary conveying notice of award of contract. It's not contract document. Check your letter. This is a letter.
Honorable Onyeagocha, react to that.
I have with me here letters to the effect of these are letters written to the governor by the Principal Secretary to the Governor, Dr. Pascal Obi, applying for waiver for every project done by Rochas throughout his regime. And all of them with his approval and in his signature, clearly endorsing the same. I have the minutes of meetings of the so-called tenders board with Dr. Pascal Obi, Principal Secretary to the Governor, as chairman. And in all these meetings, they applied to Governor Telba to Okorocha for waiver to award all these projects indiscriminately. By the way, all these projects
because we need to close, we are out of time. Let me allow you in 30 or 40 seconds or less.
No, Shehu, I need to let you know.
Closing, no, please, can you give your closing remark on this? What is the submission of the government of Imo State on this matter? So I will allow him to react to it and we close, please.
Fine. Our submission is that a judicial commission of inquiry on the abuse of lands from 2011 to 2019 has been set up. He will be made to come and answer his case. A judicial commission of inquiry on these contracts has been set up. He will be made to come and answer his case, because we know that all these contracts were awarded only to one company called The Great Nigeria Limited, with address as 5 Ubele Street, Idato South.
We must leave it at that with you, Honorable Onyeagocha, and allow Mr. Emeh within the same amount of time to react to those allegations. Is your principal ready to face that? What's your reaction to that?
We are willing, ready, and able to face any impartial judicial panel, but not a panel that is composed and specifically mandated to witch hunt. When you set up a panel and you take the chairman of a known enemy of the subject or the target, what type of justice are you expecting? For instance, we have issues. with the chairman of the judicial panel on lands. They didn't investigate. When we go to our records, all the garnishing orders they were complaining in Imo was issued by that same judge.
We need to leave it at that. Our time is spent. Our time is spent. We don't have more time. Thank you so much, Mr. Emeh, for coming and speaking for former Governor, Senator Okorocha, and Honorable Onyeagocha, Secretary to the Government of Imo State. Thank you so much also for coming. Thank you so much, gentlemen. But that's our show for tonight. Many thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.